Hello guys, and welcome to episode 1 of Rural Germany. This is a new series on my channel and it is based on the Eifel region in the west of Germany. I wanted to do this series because when I recently was there on vacation, I just got so inspired by how beautiful it looked, so I just had to remake it in city skylines. The Eifel is a hilly, former volcanic area with a lot of forests, but also a lot of farming areas. The hills aren't that high and not really steep, but the valleys can be pretty steep and very nice as well. This project will be pretty small scaled, but very heavily detailed, even going that far as detailing the gardens of every specific house. So I'm going to detail more than ever on this channel. I even got procedural objects, which my PC doesn't like, but we'll see how far we'll come. And I got a bunch of German houses, German road signs, and even German delineators, so I am really excited for this project. So in this first episode we are going to lay out the roads for this first town. We are going to build a station for it, and we are going to start with plopping some houses. I didn't include the building process of the T-junction that you just saw me move a bit, because I just spent 1.5 hours on this junction only, and I didn't feel like boring you guys out with putting that in a video. I will probably make a tutorial or something, or do a quicker version later in the series, but for now we will go on with the rest of the road layout. Another funny thing is that the bridge that I placed in the beginning of the episode, which is the European bridge from the Bridges and Piers content creator pack, actually looks a lot like the Römerbrücke in Trier, and that is a big city close to the area that we're actually building. So yeah, that was just a small funny detail. And now enjoy the time lapse. So we finished building the road layout and we are going on with building some houses. And we're starting with this town hall church kind of thing, which we convert into a procedural object to remove the terrain clipping. We're going on with placing some extra houses down to start the town. I'll be using a lot of Fachwerk houses in this series because This is a pretty common style across rural Germany, and even in cities you'll sometimes find some of those. This is just a typical German style. I'll be using them in combination with these taller white houses with red roofs, which you also find a lot in both the countryside and the cities in Germany. So what I basically did here is that I copied the house and I turned it into procedural objects and then mirrored it so we can have a perfect pub looking kind of house, which I just found way better looking than just a single of these houses. So now we are just going to detail the area around this church, and I'll see you guys in a minute. So we are continuing with the train station for this town, and this train station will be custom built with props and empty platforms from the modular station project by Titan. Amazing asset creator, and I just love all of his German assets that he's made. So as I said, I'll be placing the platforms and later on detail the station with a lot of props. By the way, before you guys scream at me, I fixed my cliff texture after recording this episode. What is special about this station is that it is built below the town level and just above the level of the river. This is because it is a pretty hilly area and you need a flat space for building a train station, and the people in the town still wanted access to the river. This could also historically be seen as a kind of protection wall from attacks from the other side of the river when the times were less peaceful as they are now. So you just saw me messing around with connecting up these train tracks, which are the railway tracks by Ronnie X. Recently Railway 2 got released, but I'm not sure if I'll get it because apparently it is more performance heavy and I'm already struggling with loading this save and we just started it, so I'll probably stick with Railway for a bit. So here I'm using one of the piers of the Bridges and Piers content creator pack for the wall between the station and the rest of the town. Because of the station layout we decided to do and the wall, the bridge makes even more sense and looks pretty cool in my opinion, with the train tracks going through one of these holes and the river through another. So over here you see that I finally changed the cliff texture to something more normal and better looking. What helped a lot here was changing the texture tiling to a smaller scale so that it wouldn't be as blurry. And over here we start detailing the roads with delineators. As I said, these are the German delineators, and I felt like I had to place them on these roads to make it look even more German. Something that needs to be fixed though is the distance between the stripes, because the stripes are way too close to each other compared to normal German roads. Another thing that I got wrong on the road markings was that I added shark teeth in most of the junctions in the town. And the problem is that Germans don't use shark teeth, they use another kind of marking for that. So now it's all fixed, but in the recording it will still be there. Right now we are adding a sign that marks the beginning of the town, and as you see, the town is called Erstendorf, which literally means the first town. Okay, it would be without the N, but I thought it looked better if I add an N. So this is a very original name, 100%. And if you guys have some better name for future towns, just leave it in the comments. So I did these road signs with procedural objects. I downloaded an empty sign pack and converted them into PO and then added text on them, and that's what I do with most signs in this series. And now we are just finishing up this junction with some priority signs and some speed limit signs. So we are starting on detailing in the station, and we are starting that by building a big parking lot next to the station. The parking lot might be a bit too big compared to how big the station is, but this also functions as a parking for the beach kind of thing that we're going to build next to the river, and as a parking for the entire town in general, because there was no space to build a bigger parking anywhere else in the town, as it is a pretty old town, and old towns usually don't have a lot of space to build parkings. The parking isn't actually functional because it is just a lot of decals, but I will add some car props off camera to make it look more realistic. Most of the parkings will be unused outside of the tourist season though, because this is a typical touristic town. So now we get to the most exciting thing and our main plans for this episode, detailing the station. Most of the props I'm using to detail this are from the modular station project by Titan, as I said earlier. And yeah, enjoy the time lapse. So the station is finished, and you saw some nice shots from above and from the side of the station. This is after I added bushes and trees, which you'll see a small part of in the video. The rest was all done off screen. So we are now continuing on starting to build some raw shapes for this town. You saw me place this wall, which is something that we'll work with later on in the series, and I am mainly building houses, not detailing them. That will come for a future episode. For now we are only placing them. Here I'm just using some ploppable grass to fill this area between the wall and the house up, so we have a nice yard for this house. You'll see the reason why we are doing this wall in a few episodes. I'm not going to spoil too much yet, but it will be pretty epic. Probably if you're in my Discord or if you saw it on Reddit or something, you might know what I'm talking about, but let's keep it a secret, okay? Over here we are just building the bare bones of a main street with not a lot of space between the houses, and you see that next to this main street most of the buildings are these more modern, taller buildings compared to the Fachwerk houses. This is because I wanted to make a pretty densely packed main street, and these Fachwerk houses are not really that tall to give this effect that the street is pretty tight. I hope you enjoyed this build. I surely did. I enjoyed making it, and I am looking forward to uploading more episodes and recording more episodes because this is a really exciting project. I really like how this turned out. I hope you do too. If you did, consider to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.